The inner courtyard at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Paris. These are the first images gathered of the location where just 6 days ago, Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa's life would come to an end. The courtyard is still sealed by police. Even the hotel's staff are not permitted to go there. The hotel will, of course, serve as a central focus for the South African police investigation team. They will want to visit its 22nd floor and the room the ambassador booked and in which he spent his final hours. It will look exactly like this one. The ambassador's wife told Newzroom Afrika that French police say the bed in the room was entirely untouched. Did not even look as though it had been sat on, she says. And it is agreed that the ambassador forced the narrow sliver of his window so that it opened fully rather than being restricted by a window lock. He possibly used a pair of scissors found at the scene by French police. Those police have reviewed the hotel's CCTV footage and found no evidence that anyone followed the ambassador into the hotel, up to his room, nor was there anyone waiting for him upon his arrival. As to when the room was booked, the ambassador's brother-in-law, Dr. Sfiso Buthelezi, told Newzroom Afrika last week that the reservation was first made on September the 15th, and that the ambassador planned a two-night stay on September the 27th and 28th. The ambassador's name was only mentioned in testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry on September the 19th. So when he first booked the room, if that September the 15th date is accurate, he would not have known that he was being accused of political interference in police activities when he served as Minister of Police in President Jacob Zuma's government. But we also know from Dr. Buthelezi that the ambassador changed his reservation at this hotel, reducing it from 2 nights to 1 night and pushing it back by 24 hours to September the 29th. What we don't know is when that change occurred and whether it took place before or after the ambassador's name came up at Madlanga.
We came to the conclusion, this is a non-issue, right? If we are called, let the commission be your guest. You can always go there and put your position.
Nathi Mthethwa, according to the ambassador's brother-in-law, was entirely untroubled by the references to him at Madlanga, and when they talked about it, indicated he would be happy to answer questions, but neither a formal nor informal invitation had come. So he had, in his mind, nothing to fear from eventually being required to testify at the commission. He wasn't worried that in any sense, the walls were closing in, as some people have suggested.
He was not worried about it. Ambassador Mthethwa had dealt with even more difficult things.
The family and staff who work here at the South African Embassy in Paris say that in the final weeks of his life, there was no indication of any depression or other anguish that was troubling the ambassador. In fact, they say he was relishing his life as South Africa's top diplomat in this all-important G7 nation. On September the 19th, just 10 days before his disappearance, Nathi Mthethwa joined a group of other ambassadors in Monaco, the principality on the French Riviera. There, he presented his ambassadorial credentials to Prince Albert, a trip that, according to Mrs. Mthethwa, both of them thoroughly enjoyed. He was also South Africa's official representative at UNESCO and was busy working with the United Nations Education, Science and Cultural Organization on priorities for the upcoming G20 summit to be held next month in Johannesburg. On September the 24th, the ambassador was, according to all witnesses, in a joyful mood as he shared some traditional Zulu dance moves with a group of French children to celebrate South Africa's Heritage Day. Less than a week later, the man seen in this video dancing would plunge to his death out of the Hyatt Regency's window. In the next few days, members of the Mthethwa family travelling to Paris from South Africa will visit the inner courtyard and engage in the traditional act of fetching his spirit, allowing his remains then to return home. If the ambassador's professional life was happy, and there is no sign that it was not, then it is inevitable that French and South African investigators will also look to see whether there was any issue in his personal life that may have contributed to his death. And one unanswered question relates to his cell phones. He had 2 of them, And one of them was reportedly recovered by French police in this park. It's called the Bois de Boulogne, a big wooded area in the centre of Paris. By day, it's lovely, but at night, it is neither a particularly safe nor salubrious place to be. It is still unclear whether those early French media reports about the phone's location are accurate. And the family says at no point did Nathi Mthethwa share any kind of personal crisis or mental anguish with any of them.
When we go through hard times, everybody goes through hard times, but we always find solace in each other, if you get what I mean. So I'm saying I would have expected him to at least say, hey, there's this thing I'm going, because that has happened in other times when you go through some challenges, we always talk about them. So I'm saying it came to me as a complete surprise, and I didn't want to accept it.